Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. President Joe Biden is back in Poland after an unannounced visit with President Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine in a show of solidarity days before the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In Poland, Biden praised Polish support for Ukraine.
1.6, 1.7 million Ukrainians you've welcomed. And, we reaffirmed our ironclad commitment to NATO's collective security, including guaranteeing that the command headquarters for our forces in Europe are going to be in Poland, period. We're also launching a new strategic partnership with plans to build nuclear power plants and bolster Poland's energy security for generations to come.
Biden's expected to make statements about the one-year anniversary of Russia's war on Ukraine later today. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has suspended Moscow's participation in the last remaining nuclear arms control pact with the U.S. He announced the move today in a State of the Nation speech, where he made clear he would not change his strategy in the war on Ukraine.
They want to deliver us a strategic defeat. I have to say that Russia suspends its participation in New START treaty. Russia does not abandon the treaty, but suspends its participation. Before resuming the discussion, we must first understand what do countries of North Atlantic Alliance, like France and Great Britain, aspire for, and how will we take their strategic arsenals into account.
He said it was Russia, not Ukraine, fighting for its very existence. The speech reiterated a litany of grievances that the Russian leader has frequently offered as justification for the widely condemned military campaign, while vowing no military let-up. China's rejecting U.S. claims it's supplying Russia with weapons. FSN's Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang says China is deeply worried about the escalation of the Ukraine conflict and it possibly spiralling out of control. He says it's the responsibility of the international community to immediately stop fueling the fire, stop shifting blame to China, and stop touting the idea that it could be what he called Ukraine today, Taiwan tomorrow. The US says it's concerned China may be planning to supply Russia with weapons to aid its military actions in Ukraine. China is dismissing that, condemning the US for suggesting the idea, and says its only objective is to enable dialogue and peace. Richard Kimber in Hong Kong.
A delegation of U.S. lawmakers met with Taiwan's president, who promised to deepen military cooperation between the two sides despite objections from China, which claims the island as its own territory. The group is one of many U.S. delegations President Tsai Ing-wen had welcomed in recent years. He said Taiwan and the U.S. will continue to bolster military exchanges, and Taiwan will cooperate even more actively with the U.S. to confront what she said was authoritarian expansionism, referencing China and other challenges such as climate change. China has responded to foreign visits by holding large-scale military exercises, seen as some as a rehearsal for a blockade or invasion. At least 6 are dead and some 200 injured from a 6.4 magnitude earthquake in Turkey 2 weeks after a massive quake killed some 47,000 people in Turkey and Syria. Rescue efforts were underway in 3 collapsed buildings where 6 people were believed trapped. Officials said more buildings collapsed, trapping others, while scores of injuries were recorded in neighboring Syria too. Monday's earthquake was centered in the town of Defne in Turkey's Hatay province, one of the worst-hit regions in the magnitude 7-point earthquake earlier this month. It was felt across the region and followed by a second magnitude 5.8 trembler yesterday. The U.S. Supreme Court is taking up its first case about a federal law credited with helping create the modern internet. The law shields Google, Twitter, Facebook, and other companies from lawsuits over content posted on their sites by others. The justices are hearing arguments today about whether the family of a terrorism victim from California who was killed in Paris can sue Google for helping extremists spread their message. The case is the court's first look at Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, adopted early in the internet age to protect companies from being sued over information their users post online. Lower courts have broadly interpreted the law to protect the industry, which the companies and their allies say has fueled the growth of the internet and encouraged the removal of harmful content. But critics argue the companies do not nearly do enough, and the law should not block lawsuits over the recommendations generated by computer algorithms that point viewers to more material that interests them and keeps them online longer and, in cases, can cause harm. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.